So I kind of lied to you about my March TBR when I filmed it. Not fully lied, but I omitted a big piece of it. And so a lot of it I knew I wasn't going to get to, but I did anyways. So sorry, not sorry. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie, and today we are doing a combo video. I will be talking about what I read in March and then doing my TBR for April. I ended up not reading that much in March. One, because I read a full series. I pulled a prompt in my TBR video that was finish a series. And I said that there was no way I was going to start and finish a series in one go that month. For finishing a series, I'm definitely gonna pick like a duology or one I'm like at the last book for. I'm not gonna finish an entire series in one go that has multiple books, so keep that in mind. Which was a complete lie because I already had plans to read all of the Poppy War anyways, so it just worked out that I got a prompt that way, so sorry about that. But those books are very long, and so it took me 2 weeks to read. There's a whole reading vlog about it, and it was a very fun time. I really enjoyed it. But those are the first books that I read in March. Here they are in all of their glory. They are really fun books. Overall, I gave this series a 4.5. I gave the first book a 5, then the second book 4.5, and then the last book a 4. Just kind of slowly got a little not as good as we went, but overall I really enjoyed it. You could definitely kind of feel it was her debut, not in like her writing, just the structure of the story maybe, and kind of not being able to wrap it up in like the most impactful ways, I would say, but highly recommend. I think this is a very good like intro to Chinese inspired fantasy because it's not like super heavy on the fantasy aspects, but it's there. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this and I highly recommend it. And this is, I have read Babel already, so the only other one I haven't read is Yellowface, but I'm not going to read that. And so I'm waiting for Calabasas to come out, and I'm very excited for that. The second book, well no, the next book after the Poppy War series that I read was one I was really anticipating, and that is Immortal by Su Lin Tan. This one was a letdown, and I'm sad to say it. I was so excited for this book, but it just did not give me what I wanted it to. It was way more on the romancy side of things than fantasy. So I would consider this more of like a romantasy than like a fantasy with romance, which her previous series was definitely like fantasy with romance. And so I was excited for more romance, but it just did not come out well. Like the writing wasn't even that great. Like there was barely any world building, and that's like what she does really well. Maybe she kind of assumed everyone had read the previous series already, so they kind of knew what the world was like, but it's also like a different part of the world. So yeah, it was just very like quick, and a lot of things happened easily, and it just felt not very fleshed out, and there were a lot of plot holes, and the romance was kind of insta-lovey as well, which later on there was like kind of a reasoning behind that, but I don't know, it just didn't really like play out. I kind of forced myself to finish this. I really should have DNF'd it, but I would really wanted to like have a full picture of this book because it was a really big anticipated read. And yeah, I was like just trying to push through it towards the end. I was like listening to the audiobook because I couldn't bring myself to read it physically. One, it's like heavy, and like I just didn't want to. I was just kind of tuning out a lot towards the end, and so I don't even really remember exactly what happens. But yeah, this one I gave 3 stars. And to give you a synopsis of this book, we follow Lien, who is the heir to the city of Tianxia, or throne. I mean, they're lords. Like her grandfather is the lord of Tianxia, so it's not really technically a kingdom, I guess. So after some conflict with the immortal queen, who Tianxia is basically tied to, the immortal queen Sai Hong, who protects Tianxia in return for them like basically dedicating their leader to the queen. And so there's conflict in the beginning between the queen and Lien's grandfather. that results in the god of war getting involved, who is like the right-hand man of Queen Saihong. Lian then becomes the Lady of Tianxia and ascends the throne and is brought to the Celestial Kingdom to meet the Queen Saihong and basically pledge her allegiance to her. And things get weird and go wrong, and it kind of stumbles out of control at that point. And so the romance is between the god of war and Lian, obviously. And so, yeah, the characters just felt very underdeveloped. Like, they felt like children. And I know she's like supposed to be on the younger side, but the god of war is like a really like old, like immortal. He's been alive for a very long time, and he just felt very childish for some reason. And yeah, it did not hit like I was expecting it to, so I'm a little disappointed with this one. And yeah, I don't even really want to recommend it, but I gave it 3 stars because it wasn't like the worst thing I've ever read, but not that enjoyable for me, so that was sad. And then the last book I read, I just finished last night, and that is My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante. This one was a buddy read with Chelsea from Libraries and Lattes, and it was really fun buddy read. Even though there's not that much of a plot, it's very much about like childhood. And so we follow 2 girls. Elena is our main character, and she befriends a girl named Lila, I'm not entirely sure which pronunciation it is. And they grow up together in this small kind of poorer area of Naples, in this tight-knit community that everyone knows each other, everyone knows everyone's business. And this book specifically, this is like a 4-book series. This book covers like early childhood through adolescence. And I assume the rest of the books cover like the rest of their life together. And so it's very interesting, very well written, very straightforward, very kind of blatant with her writing, which I really like when being told like this type of like family drama, childhood, coming of age story. And there were things that were pretty relatable for me because I grew up in like a small Jewish school where with the same kids from like pre-K through up until high school. I switched schools, but everyone knew each other, everyone knew each other's families, and there was just always drama and like things would get messy and stuff. And so that was pretty relatable for me. Obviously not everything is relatable because this book gets pretty brutal at some points, but I thought it was a really interesting kind of character study. Talks a lot about like female competition, which is also pretty relatable because I feel like any woman growing up with your friends, like there is this little bit of competition amongst like school or boys and all of that. And so I think that was captured really well in this. And just the dynamic between Elena and Lila was very interesting and very dynamic. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I don't really know how I'll rate it. I think I'm gonna land for now on a 4.5. It definitely wasn't a 5-star for me. And I can see why it would be for some people. I've read things similar to this, so it wasn't like that, like, oh my god, this is amazing. I've never read anything like this before. So maybe that's why, but I also like parts of it weren't super exciting. Like some parts were a little boring, but nothing ever was like uninteresting to me. It just took a while to get to like the next part of her life sometimes. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and I'm very happy that I read this with Chelsea. And so that wraps up what I read in March. It feels like I only read 4 books because like the Poppy War series, I don't know why I keep thinking it's 2 books, but it's 3. So I read 5 books, which I read 5 books in other months before. Like that's kind of normal for me. I think December I read 5 books just because I had a lot of life stuff going on this month. It was my birthday. I started a new job. My job now is way busier than it was before, so I just haven't had as much time to read. But to be fair, I read quite a lot of in terms of pages because like 4 out of 5 of the books were relatively long. So I still read a lot. I also did start The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. This one was the pick for my IRL book club. We don't have a date set yet for our book club, and we don't have a next book club pick because we haven't talked about this one yet. And so my other 2 friends just picked up their books, so it will take a while until we can actually meet and talk about it, but I'm like halfway through, or maybe not fully halfway through, maybe like a third of the way through, and so I'll be continuing this in April for sure. I'll probably finish it first. And so that kicks off my April TBR. So I have this book first, and then another book that I will definitely be reading, and it's a buddy read with Kat at Curious Cat, and that is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. This one is about, I think, like a little zoo of like mythical creatures. Yeah, she's the head phoenix keeper at a world-renowned zoo for magical creatures. She has dreamt of conserving the endangered firebirds for her entire life, but her zoo's breeding program hasn't functioned for a decade, and so she's trying to save the species from extinction. A hotshot griffin keeper joins, who happens to be her arch rival from college, that thinks the phoenix should be more of a performer than a conservation exhibit. So I assume drama ensues from there, and they'll, you know, argue about things. So this is kind of more of a cozy fantasy, and I'm looking forward to it. This is the Illumicrate edition, which I think Kat also has, so it's kind of funny, but I'm excited to get to this. And so next we have the TBR Prompt Jar, which I will start. I think I will be picking 5, so I'll give myself 7, which is not too bad. I do have a couple left over from my TBR from March. I think that was A Short Walk Through a Wide World and, no, 3. Betty, A Short Walk Through a Wide World, and Howl's Moving Castle. So those are still up for grabs for this month, but they're just not on this shelf right now. They're in my bedroom. So first TBR prompt is, hopefully you can see that, it is debut novel. Okay, I feel like I got this one recently, but that's okay. Let me see what I have. Okay, so I have 2 picks for the debut novel. I think this one I pulled last time I picked this prompt, and that is A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. This is also something Kat is reading this month, I think, for Draconiathon, which is why she picked The Phoenix Keeper to read this month as well, because there's dragons in it, I believe. And this one has been intriguing me for a very long time. It's just longer than I wanted to read. And then this one is Monstrilio by Gerardo Samano Cordova. I think I will go with this one because I have been really intrigued by this book, and I think I need a little horror in my life. It's been a minute, I think, and I need something weird and gross and creepy. And so I will reward myself with this. Hopefully it's a reward and I don't regret it, but this will be my first TBR prompt pick. And I forgot to say what Monstrilio is about. It is about a woman whose son dies, and she carves a part of his lung out and lets it grow, and it turns into this Monstrilio. And so that's kind of all I'll give you about that. Okay, my next TBR prompt is, what does that say? A classic. Oh, okay. What classics do I have? Okay, Kalen has way more classics on his list, but I don't really want to read any of them. So I went with, I think, the only one I currently have on my list that I own, at least, and that is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And this kind of goes with the creepy dark theme, which is not very spring, is it? But that's what I'm in the mood for, I feel like. So yes, I'm excited to read this one. And then Frankenstein is obviously about the Dr. Victor Frankenstein and the monster that he makes. So I don't really need to give you context on that. Okay, prompt number 3. What does that say? A book that will make you happy. Ooh, I like that one. I think I got that one last time too, and I read Immortal, which didn't make me happy, so that's a little sad. but I can do this again. Okay, I picked my book, and it's not necessarily a happy book, but I'm very excited to read it, so that's why I think it'll make me happy. And that is Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fado. This was in my anticipated releases of 2025 video. It's a dark book. It's about a murderous governess who joins a family, and you know, she gets a little unhinged, and so I'm excited for it. It's basically like an American Psycho, I think, Victorian style with a Victorian family. So right up my alley, and I'm very excited for it. So this TBR is very clearly starting out very nice and fluffy with the Unmaking of June Farrow and the Phoenix Keeper, and then getting very dark and creepy and weird, and I love it. Prompt number 4. You see that? A book that has been adapted. Okay. That is a bit hard, kind of. So I think the only books I have that have been adapted into movies are Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, and then I went to go and get Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. And out of the two, this one's technically on my 25 and 2025 list, and this one's not, I don't think. But I think I'm gonna go with this one because I was supposed to read it in March, and it is very spring themed. So yeah, I'll bring some happiness back into my TBR. Then last TBR prompt, number 5. And that is Flowers on the Cover. I don't think I've gotten that one before. I probably have a lot of options for this, so give me a minute. Okay, I picked 4. One's like a short one, and then the other 3 are like very new releases, and I'm kind of curious to get to one of them. So the first one I picked is The Tea Dragon Society by Kay O'Neill. This is also something Kat is planning on reading for Draconathon, so that would be really funny if I also read this. And it's so short, and I've been meaning to get to it, and I think it's been on my TBR before, and I don't know why, I just didn't read it. So I might pick this one anyways, in addition to one of the next 3, so I'm just gonna do that. So I have like 7.5 books on my TBR. The next 3 are first The Rose Bargain by Sasha Payton Smith. This one has some flowers on the cover. The other one is The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Amelie Wanzhou, also lots of flowers on the cover. And then lastly, Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stephen, which also has flowers on the cover. And this one has flowers on the cover, if you couldn't see it up close. And so out of these 3, I think I might take a break from Asian-inspired fantasy for a bit after what happened with Immortal. So I'm gonna put that one aside. And then there's these 2. I'm just gonna read both synopses and decide from there. This one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue meets This Is How You Lose the Time War in this fantastical and epic love story that defies death as 2 souls reincarnate through the centuries. Evelyn can remember all her past lives. She can also remember that in every single one, she has been murdered before her 18th birthday by Arden, a supernatural being linked to her soul. The problem is that she's quite fond of the life she's in now, and her little sister needs her in order to stay alive. If Evelyn wants to save her sister, she'll have to find the centuries-old devil who hunts her through each life before they find her first. Figure out why she's being hunted and finally break their curse, and try not to fall in love again. Sounds interesting. These are both YA, by the way. The Rose Bargain is England, 1848. The season is officially open and high society girls line up to bargain with the immortal Queen Morian for qualities that will win them suitors. Perfect smile for the loss of a finger, and exquisite talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory. Lady Ivy Benton plans to use her bargain to uncover the truth about what happened to her beloved sister Lydia, whose mysterious disappearance and reappearance means the Benton family have been cast out by polite society. But instead, Ivy's season arrives with a shocking twist. The queen announces a competition to win the hand of her fae son, Prince Bram. Marrying the prince is a prize that could save Ivy's family from ruin. Yet every glittering fae deal has a rotting heart. And amidst lavish balls, vicious competitions, and a dangerous alliance with the prince's irresistible brother, Prince Emmett, Ivy realizes that at the center of this contest lies a dark plot that could destroy all of England and her heart along with it. This is hard. They both sound pretty interesting to me. Maybe I'll go with the page length. Who am I? 354 for our Infinite Faiths. And then, oh, this one's a lot longer. 378. Actually, not that much longer, like 20 pages. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted more towards the Rose Bargain, which is surprising to me, but I think I'll do that one. So cool. And so here is my full TBR. We ended on the Rose Bargain, and then we have the Tea Dragon Society, then Howl's Moving Castle, Victorian Psycho, Frankenstein, Monstrilio, and then The Phoenix Keeper, which is my buddy read with Kat. And then a book I'm already in the middle of, which is The Unmaking of June Farrow. So that, yes, is 7.5 books, which we'll see. Now with my new work schedule, I don't know if I'll ever be able to read 7 books in a month again. But some of these are shorter, and I think I can get through them. And yeah, I think it's a really good mix of kind of the two sides that I like. Kind of more cozy, romantasy-esque, and then creepy, dark, weird. So, wow, such duality. So I will keep you posted on the progress that I make. Maybe I'll pick a few of these to do a reading vlog with. Let me know in the comments below if there's anyone you'd be interested to see in a reading vlog. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.